When the framers created the US of A, they created a system so strong of checks and balances that there would be no way any part of the government could establish absolute power. Just kidding. Let's be honest. You can't build an entire country in 4 months and expect everything to be peachy keen. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, but at least they took a year to establish their first round, and well, look at how that turned out. You see, America's really good at not learning from past mistakes, and instead, when issues arrive, they just give the people a shiny new toy to play with while they push the issue under the rug, rewrite history, and wait for the next generation to start the cycle all over again. Our slogan really should be America, being gaslit since 1776. So, what mistakes did the framers make? Well, plenty, but their main concern was control, as in making sure the elite always had it, but equally. So they made the legislation branch checked by the executive branch that would be checked by the legislation branch. And in case there was ever a fight between the two of them, well, the judicial branch would mediate. Wait, but then who checks on the judicial branch? Well, as Hamilton famously stated, they're the least dangerous branch. They have no control over the sword or purse. All they have is judgment, mere words. Yet here they were writing up a constitution using words, trying to convince people that this was the best plan ever. Now, not everybody agreed with Hamilton, of course. There were debates on this, especially on how the justices should be appointed, and many thought lifelong tenure was the worst idea ever. But Ham was really good at words, and he was like, listen, you guys, these are moral, impartial men that are above political and personal beliefs, because they're going to be chosen by us, not chosen by the people, because they felt anyone outside the elite class was flawed and incapable of knowing what was best for them. Now, keep in mind, how people became judges back then is also very different to how it is done today. But their goal was to try to wrap this up as quickly as possible. So anything that wouldn't work out, they figured that future generations would change it, because that's how they wrote the Constitution, expecting it to be changed, not stay the same for 200 plus years. So they laid out very specific terms for the legislation, some pretty strong terms for the executive branch, and the judicial branch basically got a paragraph stating that there would be one Supreme Court and all courts below it would be inferior to it, that justices get to stay judges as long as they behave good, and what type of cases the court could actually take. In fact, the Supreme Court was looked at as being such a weak power that the first Chief Justice quit after 1 year because he was like, this job sucks, I have no power, I'm out. And he became the governor of New York. So as for all the other rules that oversaw the judiciary, it came from the Judicial Act of 1789. And why is that a problem? Well, as I've said in a previous video, federal laws can create rights, but it's only as long as the majority that passed it, unless the courts wipe it out first. And because of that, everything changed in 1803 when the majority switched and the Supreme Court became the least dangerous to the most absolute power in the United States. So make sure to follow, as I'm going to tell you what happened, how they did it, how 1803 sounds eerily similar to 2025, and hopefully how we can fix it. So to be continued.